My wonderfully dear community, a very warm hello to all of you. Thank you for joining me again today for a new love oracle about your special someone, your desired partner. And that's exactly what we're going to take a look at today. Yes, maybe maybe you've noticed whether he told you directly or you picked up on it in some other way, but there are entanglements, dependencies that your special someone has, either with certain situations or with other people. And today we're going to see whether he or she will be able to break free from these dependencies. The things that have always held him back or blocked him, that have driven you apart, the path you were walking together or wanted to walk together, or something else that came between you, something connected to him and his situation. Because maybe he kept letting himself be pulled back, drawn into this vortex by others or by his own behavioral patterns. And now let's take a look at that. We are tapping into the energy of the present moment, the most prominent energy that wants to reveal itself. And, court cards are gender neutral, and a collective reading cannot apply to everyone. Take from this what resonates with you and adapt the situations to fit you and your own circumstances. And I know you do that absolutely fantastically. Yes, let's take a look at that now. What's really going on with your counterpart? What's on his mind? And will he be able to free himself from all these entanglements and dependencies? So I'll tap into the energy now and we'll see what comes up. By the way, I got this question from the collective again, and I always write them all down. The questions, when you write them clearly and precisely, just a small example, it's like this. The cards want clear, specific questions, so not will he make the decision? Yes, but which decision, for example, right? That's how I always do it too. I always ask the cards very direct, clear, and specific questions. So not like, does he want to enter into a committed partnership with you? Instead, I ask the question, will he enter into a committed partnership? If I ask, does he want to? Yes, sure. He wants to. Yes, probably. But what's important is that he actually does it, right? So, as I said, the cards want clear, precise questions, the energy, because that way I can grasp a very clear energy in personal readings and also in collective ones. We get detailed answers, right? So not something vague and superficial. Yeah. So, and now let's take a look at whether he will actually manage to free himself from his attachments, dependencies, and blockages. Will he do it? Let's see. We have the clouds. All right. So you probably have the feeling, or what he has shown you again and again, is that he is inscrutable. Inscrutable, but his situation has always been inscrutable as well, or currently still is, in that he himself doesn't see through his own situation. And he doesn't have this clear perspective because there are an incredible number of uncertainties here. He or she might really be hard to figure out, right? That he keeps blocking things, shutting down, showing something different on the outside, saying something else, and maybe not showing what's really going on inside him. And those are real difficulties. But it's also the case that he has a bit of a blockage with himself. He actually blocks himself too because he doesn't want to look at things, because he's partly in a kind of fog. And those are real difficulties. Maybe he's just a bit difficult as a person. In any case, we have a lot of pessimism from your loved one, and at times also a bit of unreliability. Maybe he says he'll get in touch, or that he'll do this or that, or no, I'll change that. I'll change my situation, the dependencies and so on, my blockage, I'll solve that, I'll tackle my issues, right? He says it, but he doesn't do it. They're just words, but no actions. And it's most definitely, truly, without any doubt, for sure, about you. And that's what's completely occupying his mind. So we're in a situation here, he's definitely thinking about you as well. And that's also what he shows you, this inscrutability. Now we also have the fox involved. Yes, he hasn't been completely honest with you. He kept trying to deceive as well, but basically he's the one being deceived. That's it. He himself is being deceived. A lot of games are being played with him, and let me just put it in my own words, she's being made a fool of, messed with, however you want to put it. But for sure, towards you, this is a disguise he's put on. So that's really absolutely certain. It's a disguise. He is disguising himself. He is pretending so that you, or others as well, but mainly we're focusing on your energy here. That he's hiding something from you, that you don't realize what's really going on with him, because he's just belittling himself in circles. All right. Then we have this. And now let's see what else we get here, or rather what else comes up for us. So now we have this. And let's see if things will really start moving now. But as I said, he doesn't have any plan himself. His vision, his clarity is completely clouded here. And everything he does is always on a small scale. There's nothing big involved. But he does know, when it comes to you, that you are actually an absolutely lucky stroke for him. Because you kept bringing him back to it, maybe told him one thing or another. He didn't want to see it, kept fooling himself over and over. And this always telling you things, this unreliability when he says, I'll change that, but then doesn't do it. Because somewhere there was always a little spark he wants to get out of it. He also realizes that the whole thing just doesn't fit. As I said, we have this connection here that you are like a stroke of good fortune for him or her. And what I find fantastic here again is that we can already see a positive outcome here. In which direction? Let's see if it's positive now. Yes, how he sees it as positive, right? But now let's take a closer look at the details. You know it. But in the end, what I also find great now is that a sense of optimism is taking hold in him. And that there's this feeling of that's where he wants to go, and this lightheartedness, that's what he wants to step into. Maybe he's actually waiting for the right moment, keeps postponing the whole thing, right? He just won't look at it. But what I can tell you is there will definitely be arguments in his environment. There have already been arguments where he keeps doubting himself as well. But order will also be restored. So it's not like that, right? Conflict is definitely inevitable, and he will be confronted with some things and already has been confronted with some. Confronted, let's put it that way, okay? This could have been in the last well, something intense that's been occupying him in terms of energy and time. I'd say it could have been 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months ago, roughly in that time frame, you know, when he really noticed when there were some real confrontations again. You know, we're all part of the collective. It could also be that in 2 days, 2 weeks, or even 2 months, he'll really be confronted with it. Right? In any case, we definitely have the two here, so before and after. Something is definitely happening or has happened during this period. Maybe he's also putting things off a bit, you know? Even if he's already noticed something, he might still drag it out himself, just because he doesn't really want to face it. Because with him or her, I also see that he has self-doubt. And that's the reason. So even if you already, let's just say, noticed it 2 weeks ago, you know collectively time, you know it. You always have time in your own hands, whether collectively or personally. So you alone. And let's say about 2 days or 2 weeks ago, he already noticed something, but because he has self-doubt and keeps getting resistance from others, he falls into self-doubt and pushes everything off again to the next 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 months, right? But I'd say it's manageable. Up to now, the time frame here is still manageable. It's pretty close for me. Right now, there's still a bit of a standstill because things are still a little gloomy. But what I also find great is that you really occupy his or her thoughts a lot. And as I said, a stroke of good luck, right? So we definitely have some movement already. If you push everything completely away now, well, we're actually pretty much past the point where everything gets pushed away so much that he doesn't even want to see it anymore. I mean, okay, when I look at it like this, whether he wants to see it or not, he doesn't really have a choice. There really isn't any other option, the way he's being squeezed in here. So that's already quite clear to see. Yes. And we definitely have a lot of entanglements here, a lot of disaster in the family area. Public perception is always, always a really big issue. Oh my God, how am I being seen here? What do people think of me? A really, really, really big issue. And you're right in the middle of it too. But what I'll say about him is you are in an absolutely positive area here, in an absolutely positive connection as far as you're concerned. And I'll push this up a little bit more so you can see it. You are in a very positive area with him or with her. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So now it should work better, right? He is being confronted with this very forcefully, and she's actually like he's in his own kind of captivity where he's always tried to wriggle out and twist his way free like an eel slipping through everywhere, you know? That doesn't work anymore. It's not possible anymore. The radius has been drastically reduced. He's basically in a prison now, sometimes in a prison yard, and he keeps getting confronted with Ethan. He can't run away anymore, right? He kept trying to slip through to avoid problems, or maybe sometimes even try to make things a bit funny or ridiculous. Oh, yeah, right. That kind of covering things up, you know, just glossing over the surface a bit. Oh, well, it's not really that serious. You can't really see it, right? And that's how he's been lying here the whole time. And that's what he did, which was wrong. But now there's so much coming at him that he can't get out of it anymore. He's just overwhelmed by so much negativity that he doesn't even know where he can sneak his way through because he's also really tangled up in his dishonesty. We've got that in the mix as well. And that dishonesty is rooted in his self-doubt. He is completely insecure. Insecure, and the others out there have called him out again and again. Yes, I see dependency. It's absolutely present in his main energy, the dependency, the worries, the sorrow. The dependency that we have in the collective. I just want to mention that again, I'd like to keep pointing it out. The dependency here could really also mean that he spent a lot of money or actually wasted money on nonsense or bought something. And now we're saying, okay, let's send it back. It doesn't fit, or I actually don't need it after all, right? So I send it back, you know, he just tossed it in the corner and then ordered the next thing, something like that. Too much. Then, for some people, it could also be that they simply spend a lot of money on, let's say, unhealthy food or even alcohol, because that's also indicated here. But as I said, collectively, I'm a bit cautious here, and I have to be. And yes, dependency on other people as well, right? That's also financial dependency. It could also be that there's someone in his environment, could even be an exo that he just wanted to show off, or he's the hero, he's great, and so on. So he lent out some money and thought, okay, now I'm really doing something good, you know? And that's exactly where he stuck to. Because when it comes to paying the money back, that person just isn't doing it, right? And a lot was invested there. But I don't see it here as being based on love. So this could be a friendship or a fake romance. So it's not really a heartfelt connection. I have to want to make that very clear. That's really important for me to add. Here, I just see pretense. It could also be about family. Within the family, I see so much pretense. There's a lot of pulling and tugging. You have to do this and that and the other thing. It's like as if you always get a list, a checklist for each day. You have to do this and that and that and that, and he has to work through it all. For example, he's out somewhere doing something, maybe even just for himself, doing nothing at all, you know, just relaxing on the couch. Then suddenly there's a call. Hey, you still have to do this for us and that and this and that. And like right now, you know, and of course he immediately jumps up, or rather, he always used to. The emphasis is on, he always used to jump up. That's how it was, because for him, he just can't do it anymore. Like I said, it's like he's so restricted, no air, no movement, and even the prison yard is already closed, you know. So as I said, I see him as being completely locked up, like with no time outside at all. That's the situation. That's how I see him right now. And with him, I feel this constant worrying concern. And then what always comes back to mind is that stroke of good fortune from you. You always reached out to him. You were always there. But if he doesn't open up to you and is so stubborn and insists on doing things his own way, then you also say, there's nothing more I can do, right? It's also very important for you to step out of this energy of trying to help him. What can I do for him? I'm telling you, based on this reading, it's not good also energetically, because you keep going back into this energy where you feel you have to take action. No, let him handle everything completely on his own. That's absolutely perfect. He can do it because he really needs to go through this disaster in order to resolve everything. And he definitely will. He has suffered massive losses, so I'm making that very clear here as well. He really has major financial losses, but those are his own issues to deal with. This is something he has put together for himself. These are his own building blocks, his Lego castle, or whatever you want to call it, that he has built for himself. He constructed this himself. Because with you, he actually knows, and that's what I'm also seeing with him right now, that this is weighing on him. You really occupy his thoughts, because I see sadness, sorrow, and disappointment directed toward you. I mean, you definitely feel these too, but maybe you have already more or less turned away. You still keep an eye on the relationship, on the connection between the two of you, but there's a lot weighing on you. Maybe you've also noticed something from the outside, that you've picked up on something. Important, let go of what you've picked up. Focus on what you want. That is always the most important thing. Yes, something will definitely happen. So there's definitely something big coming. We haven't reached the climax yet because something major is still on its way. It could even be from an authority. An office, an authority, I also see a document here. So there's something official coming in that will really add fuel to the fire, something that could be the last straw. And as I said, from others, he can't run away anymore. He just can't anymore, right? And there, it's just going to be way too much for him, because I really see that he's going to have a real outburst, even if you say he's always so calm, he would never do that in his life. But I can see Ice really going to snap. And I see that at home as well, also within the family, also with his surroundings. He just can't take it anymore. And then it really happens that he completely loses his temper. And he has a very, very, very short fuse. And then he explodes. I actually have that explosion here because he was always calm. And with the others, it went on like that the whole time. And he always stayed calm. And then the next time there's all this bickering and fussing and here and there and everywhere, he really just yells. So I have it lying here. And if there are other dependencies present in the situation, then but only when the two of you are once again connected and in communication, then he will begin to move away from those dependencies. And he will do so through his relationship with you. This process will take time, reduce. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's unhealthy eating, slowly. Yes, but it's not that you say you have to do this and that and so on, but rather he takes it from you because you keep giving him such wonderfully positive energy. And those feelings of happiness he has, those are what motivate him. You don't have to say anything. The feelings of happiness that he experiences, the precious time spent together with you, and the deep, meaningful connection he shares with you, that's what ultimately pulls him out again. Because all this dependency, all these unhealthy patterns, all this negative, harmful, and bad stuff that he struggles with can be overcome through the strength of your relationship. It's because he keeps trying to suppress his psyche with it, not to feel, not to count. I always see it here as a distraction for him. It really is a distraction. And then comes the lightness. The lightness comes from you. And yes, even if you have no contact, he will still manage to break free from it here. It will be hard for him indeed because his self-confidence is completely shattered. These doubts about himself, but I can see again now that it's being rebuilt. we see slow steps from him here when it comes to his self-confidence. But if he really gets hit hard again and is completely down, really knocked to the ground and then kicked while he's down, then he'll pull himself together again. And it's like he starts roaring like a gorilla or something. And through this roaring, a lot is released here. It's like a liberating roar. And I think that's absolutely great. Of course, at first the others will be quiet, thinking he'll come down again, he'll come back to us and start sucking up again, something like that. No, he won't do that. I can tell you that for sure. What? Beautiful. Please take a look at this. So he really won't do it. He will break free from these dependencies, from these blockages, from all of the stuff that pulls you down, that keeps restricting you. There's going to be a real surge. And then the bomb will truly go off here because he's about to burst. We have the moon. So the moon is a very, very, very powerful card. He's getting more and more involved, spending more and more time with his thoughts. And those thoughts are about love, and in that love, it's you. You are the one you or she is in love with. And there are a lot of emotions coming up. Yes, his fears and also his worries. But, well, what does but even mean? Let's just cross that out for a moment. The psyche is also being shown here again, just as I mentioned earlier. And through these emotions, these fearful emotions, he or she also feels the attraction to you, the attraction. Because I keep sensing that heart connection. He wants this change and he really is thinking about it. Even if you say, no, he's not thinking about it at all. It really is happening because he has no other option left that just can't go on like this. At some point, he has to come up for air, you know. And as I said, he is completely locked in. He's stuck in this prison block without a prison yard. That's been blocked off for him too. And so he just can't take it anymore. What always worked for him in the past doesn't work anymore. And he realizes it too because he kept pushing things away and always tried to sneak his way through, you know, in his own way. Yeah. And then, as I said, the pull, the attraction comes in. That feeling keeps coming back, this feeling. And above all, he or she also becomes more sensitive on a heart level because I also see the heart touching aspect here. And the heart touching fantastic because that's where love comes in, right? And then it also becomes clear to him or her that the love for you is a lasting love, and that now there really is a need to take action. And above all, the affection is shown very strongly as well. He wants to too. He wants. And then it's also this, yes, there's more coming a bit. I would say this romance also comes out a little where he himself gets into that area. Like if I let romance in here, he experiences the romance and then it's like, are you stupid or what? What kind of softie are you now, huh? Maybe it's like this. He sees something and if there's a bit of sobbing or something, you know, oh, he thinks what nonsense this is, huh? I'm a man. But I just find him to be very soft, especially in the evenings at night, during the nighttime hours. I really see him in that state. And that's also when the longing and the reflection come in, because that's when he becomes aware of what he's really missing. And that definitely changes things, you know. So in that sense, all right, so now let's take a look at it from the time factor perspective as well. If I also take time into account, a lot starts to move, yes. In the evenings at night, as I said, that's when there's quite a lot of movement, or during dawn, dusk, or something like that, you know. And I experience that consistently. So it's not like it happens once a week and then nothing again, right? No. And it really is the case, I would say, about 4 weeks, something like that. That's when this bang really happens here. We're talking about this bang now, right? Roughly 4 weeks, something like that, 4 or 5 weeks. That's when something would really happen, when this bang actually occurs, you know. Of course, it could also be months, you know, but based on this collective reading, I actually see it more in the range of weeks. But again, just so you know, yeah, you'll keep asking yourselves, now she's starting with that again. But as I said, you also have time in your own hands when it comes to him. Be aware of that, okay? So, my dears, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for watching and wish you a wonderfully fantastic and beautiful day. Goodbye.